Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and today we've got a pretty cool guitar on the channel. This is a 2017 Gibson Les Paul Classic, and it's a Goldtop. So if you're not familiar with the Gibson Les Paul Classic, they no longer make these. I think they discontinued them. But for a lot of years, Gibson was putting out 3 different models of the Les Paul. There would be the Les Paul Traditional, the Les Paul Classic, and the Les Paul Standard. So the Les Paul Standard was more of a modern take on the Les Paul. It had different, more modern type specs. And then the Gibson Classic was more of a hybrid of the modern and more traditional specs. And then the traditional was first released as a more traditional spec guitar. But that changed a lot over the years. Gibson started treating the traditional line, the classic line, and the standard line as kind of 3 different versions. So there was different specs for each year. So there's a ton of different specs on different years of Les Paul Classics. This year, 2017, is considered to be a really good spec year. This one has the traditional 9-hole weight relief, so no chambering or anything else like that. It's got the 57 classic pickups, and it's kind of got a really nice neck profile, which is a little bit of a hybrid between a 50s and a 60s neck. So it's been a long time since I had a Goldtop. I think they look great. I picked this up used locally for a pretty good price, and there has been some alterations done to this, and I didn't even have a chance to see if it works yet. So what we're going to do today is kind of go through this guitar, check out the condition, check out to see if it's all original, what parts have been replaced, and fix up anything that needs fixing on it. Alright, let's go ahead. So it came in this really nice case. This is the original case of what it came in. And people are starting to look for these classics a little bit more because you can no longer get them. They've been discontinued. And some years just have really great specs. So let's just open it up here. Case is in nice shape. And yeah. So the guitar's in quite nice shape. There's quite a lot of variation in color on these Goldtops. Like different years have different like color basically. Like you can get more of like a yellowy gold or more of like a greeny gold or darker or lighter. And this Goldtop looks quite nice. And this year came with the 57 classic pickups. What I really like about this guitar when I saw it, it's got a super dark rosewood fingerboard. And yeah. A lot of people prefer a darker looking fingerboard. It's just a preference thing, but yeah, this one's nice and dark. It's got the cream plastics and pickguard with the gold reflector top hat knobs. And it's got an ABR1 style bridge. It's connected Nashville style with the receivers at the bottom. And everything else about it is pretty standard Les Paul specs. You've got the 9-hole weight relief, the 24.75 scale length, the 12-inch radius on the fingerboard. This one has upgraded locking Grover tuners, which we'll see in a sec here. And the classics have the classic truss rod cover. The guitar's in nice shape. If you look in the light, you can see a few kind of scuff marks, and there's a couple dings in the back. Let's have a look. It's got a really nice piece of mahogany in the back. There's like lots of movement, kind of like a ribbony mahogany, which is kind of cool. It's a 2-piece body. You can see the seam very clearly in the middle. And these models have the textured back plate. These are designed to have a little bit of like shielding in them, so they actually prevent noise in the pickups. I'm not sure how effective they were because they don't really use them anymore, but that was the original intention. And then yeah, you can see a little bit of a bigger ding there. And this neck feels great. It's somewhere in the middle between the 50s and the 60s, which is cool. And then yeah, there's a look at our locking Grover tuners that still use the same screw holes as the original tuners. And here's our serial number, and this is one of the years where the first 2 numbers represent the year of the guitar. So yeah, it looks quite good. I'm not sure what's original on it and what's not, so we're gonna have to take it apart. And it doesn't feel too heavy, so let's go ahead and get a weight. So it's actually on the heavier side, so 10 pounds, 7.3 ounces. It feels lighter than that though, it's pretty well balanced. So this year of the Classic came with the 57 Classic pickups. And so we're reading a 7.54 in the bridge and a 7.7 in the neck. That's pretty average readings for these pickups. So they could be original. And just having a look at the tailpiece here, I think this has been replaced because it says Sung Il, which is like a Korean part, and they don't come stock on Gibson. So yeah, this has definitely been replaced. Feels like it's a full weight tailpiece. And then the bridge looks like it's original. It's actually an ABR1 bridge with the retaining wire. Yeah, and everything looks good there. And then having a look at the pickups here, we can see that I've got the PAF sticker and not much else, the gold screws. So this is what 57 Classics do look like. So it's likely that those are them, especially considering our pickup readings. And then just a quick look at the bridge pickup, which is more of the same, the patent applied for with the 4 gold screws and the braided wire. Let's have a look at our pickup cavities. Cavities look good. There's actually nothing in either of them in terms of factory writing. Routes look nice and clean. And you can see on the side there that there's a little line right there in the pickup cavity. So that's the actual maple top. So we've got a nice big thick maple top. And here's a look at the pick guard. It's just a 1-ply cream plastic pick guard. Looks like it's original. And yeah, the guitar looks good. You could rock it without a pick guard if you wanted. You'd have to deal with that screw hole there, but that's it. So actually I did a little bit more research, and these models actually came with the metal jack plate here. So that's kind of a cool feature. These knobs, it looks like it has been replaced. These reflector knobs came with a different style. On the original model, it would have came with these ones. Here's a picture. And it looks like the original pickups were uncovered. They were the 57 Classic in the neck and the 57 Classic Plus in the bridge. Now the 57 Classic Plus reads a little bit hotter than the standard 57 Classics. So I think what happened is either the pickup covers were added, however the back of the pickups the solder points looked really good, like they hadn't been messed with. So I think someone took out the 57 and the 57 Classic Plus pickups and replaced them with just standard 57s with covers. So I think that makes the most sense. And then our tailpiece has been replaced with this Sung Il tailpiece, and this is the original ABR1 bridge because that was in the specs as well. And here's a look at the control cavity. So we've got orange drop capacitors in there, which is on the spec sheet, but you can see these solder joints here. They look like they've been messed with a little bit. So I think what happened is the pickups were removed at some point, and then someone put another set maybe to match this guitar so they could sell it. So they might have replaced it with some like sort of boutique pickups or something, and then lost the pickups or sold them and then wanted to put it back to stock to sell. So that's likely what happened, but it looks like it has the original pots in there. Those are the Gibson branded pots, and we've got our plate that mounts the pots to there. And everything else looks good. And here's a look at our switch route. That looks like an original part, and the route looks nice and clean. And then here's a look at our covers here, our plastic covers. Again, these are the textured covered ones that are supposed to have some sort of shielding component built in. I'm not sure how well they worked because they were kind of discontinued, but I liked the idea. And something else I noticed, if you look at the stock photos from the website of that year, if you go on like Wayback Machine, you can actually go back to the right year these models came out and like look at the exact specs. So this is the 2017 Les Paul Classic T, and it actually came with no poker chip here. So this one has been added. It looks a little different. Usually they have the gold writing. This one has the black. So someone actually put this on after the fact. I'm going to leave it because I actually prefer the look with the poker chip. But these original models did not come with one. They would just be blank, just the switch without the poker chip. And it appears that these locking Grovers are original as well. I really thought those were an aftermarket part, but these are actually stock. It's on the website here. I'll put up a picture. And this nut is nylon, which is something they put on the Les Paul reissues. So very interesting. So this guitar came with the locking machine heads, a nylon nut, no poker chip, uncovered zebra 57 Classic, and Classic Plus for the bridge with not these knobs. It came with the metal output jack, and yeah, it's actually a really cool year for these specs. So the only thing not original on this guitar is the pickups. They've been swapped just to straight 57 Classics, which a lot of people prefer because a lot of people think the Classic Plus in the bridge is a little too hot, and the Classic 57 Classics are a better set. I've heard good examples of both sets, so I'm going to reserve my judgment until I plug it in. We can hear how it sounds. So this poker chip has been added. These knobs have been replaced, and this tailpiece has been added, but everything else is original. And while we have the strings off, let's have a quick look at the condition of the guitar. So it's in quite nice condition, but there is a few scratches and dings if you're looking. Looks like there's a little bit of a gouge by that tailpiece post, but that should be covered by the tailpiece. And the little mark there, a couple other little spots. Right there, there's some scratches. Got a super nice dark fingerboard. It's in good shape. Their frets are really nice shape. There's a tiny bit of marks here, like from wear, but nothing that's going to affect the playability. And the binding feels good. There's no separation there at all. There's no tooling marks. And then look at the truss rod here. So no thread showing, plenty of adjustability. It turns well. I just turned it before I took the screw out there. Headstock's in really nice shape, no scratches or dings. And a quick look at the back. The back's got some really nice wood grain. It kind of dances. It's kind of got that ribbon look there. Two-piece, you can see the seam line clearly, and if you look in the light you can see some marks and dings and scuffs and scratches. Nothing egregious. Look, there's a little bit more down there. I think the worst part on this guitar is this one ding on the neck. It's a little bit there. It looks like it might have been drop filled because it's a little darker than the rest, and it definitely doesn't feel like a big impression there. So I would imagine someone had drop filled that further to make it a little smoother. Again, this neck feels great. It's kind of a hybrid in between the 50s and the 60s. And stock locking Grover tuners. Pretty cool. And there's our shield number there. So this is one of the years where the first two numbers designated the year. And on the sides, we've got a few other scratches. I think that one being the worst of it. Just quickly check the other side. Nice grain. And no other major scratches. With it, the nut is a 1.69 or 43.08 millimeters, and at the 12th fret that is a 2.09 or 53.32 millimeters. Neck depth at the first fret is a 0.82 inches or a 20.88 millimeters, and at the 12th fret that beefs up to a 0.88 inches or a 22.41 millimeters. And here's a look at the neck profile. Starts out quite nice and rounded, and it stays pretty rounded, a little flatter by the 12th fret, but retains its roundness pretty well. And the neck feels good. I like a really big chunky neck, but this is somewhere between a 50s and a 60s, so it's still quite comfortable for me. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up even further and restring it and set it up, and we can check the setup. So I managed to get quite a nice setup on this guitar. You can see using my notch straight edge that there's just a very small gap between the straight edge and the fingerboard. So that tells me that the neck is nice and straight and the truss rod's set tight, so we've got nice low action. And then here at the 3rd fret, you can see when I use the 3rd fret that string is just touching that 1st fret here. So that tells me that the neck is nice and straight, you've got nice low action, and we've got a nice well cut nut. Here's a better look at that nylon nut, which is cool. Nylon was the material used on the old 1958, 1959 Les Pauls. So they actually come on the new reissues. So we can see it's sitting at just above a 1mm at the low E, and at the high E it's just below a 1mm. So that's kind of where I like to set my action. It's nice and low. I'm just going to go through the whole fingerboard here to make sure there's no buzzing or fretting out anywhere. So yeah, nice low action with no buzzing or fretting out anywhere. And the guitar sounds nice acoustically. And it rings out for a nice long time. Good sustain. And there's lots of vibration in it. You can really feel it in the body, in the headstock, and in the neck. Guitar's on a bit on the heavier side, so there is no issues sitting on a strap. There's no neck dive at all. And the neck feels great. Like I said, it's right in between a 50s and a 60s. It feels really good. So we went through the guitar, we found out which parts have been replaced, and made sure it was all working well. It's all set up and restrung. So let's go ahead and plug it in and see how it sounds. All right, I'm plugged into my Dr. Z prescription extra strength, and I'm miking that up with a Sennheiser E609, and then I'm using a Audio-Technica AT2020 condenser for the room. I'm going to be using my Flint Strymon for a little bit of reverb, and my Jim Jones GTO Germanium overdrive. We're going to go through each pickup combination clean, and then with a little bit of dirt. So yeah, it sounds really, really nice, clean, really articulate, not muddy at all, not too trebly, really nice sounding pickups. Okay, let's try it out with a little bit of dirt. right, so final thoughts on this 2017 Les Paul Classic Goldtop. I learned a lot about this model today. I couldn't find much information on the internet until I went on the Wayback Machine and pulled up the exact year and the listing from when this came from. And this guitar had some really cool specs. It came stock with these locking tuners. It's got that nylon nut, which is really cool. It came without a poker chip. And it also came with an ABR1 bridge, which it still has. I guess it came with the 57 Classic in the neck and the 57 Classic Plus in the bridge, uncovered, zebra bobbin style. So someone has replaced this with the 57 Classic set, which I do not have a problem with. I think a lot of people prefer just the straight 57 Classic set rather than the Plus. Some people think the Plus is a little too aggressive, but for like classic rock kind of stuff. So I'm happy with the pickups for sure. They're still Gibsons. I like the way the poker chip looks. I don't know, I think I'd just rather have it on than without. And I really like this choice of the reflector knobs. I think these are some of my favorite knobs on a Les Paul for sure. In summary, everything that was swapped was the tailpiece, the pickups, again with just Gibsons, and the knobs. Oh, and the poker chip. And the guitar felt really good. It's a bit heavy, but it's pretty well balanced. Like, I did not think it was going to be that heavy because it is really well balanced. Yeah, 10 pounds for a Les Paul is on the heavier side for sure. But I really like the neck. This is one of those hybrid necks that's just a, you know, a cross between a 50s and a 60s that are kind of hard to find. And they're really, really nice. The guitar stayed in tune really well, and it played great. Nice low action and no buzzing or fretting out. And I really liked the way the pickups sounded. They sounded really great, clean, and dirty as well. And the guitar is in pretty decent shape. There are a few scratches and dings here and there, but nothing that affects playability. And overall, I was really impressed with it. So if you come across a 2017 Les Paul Classic T, you might want to check it out because it's got some pretty cool specs. But that's going to be it for today. Thank you for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and I'll have more for you really soon. Thanks a lot.